Good morning, everybody. Today, that is Monday, May 31st, 2021, and we are in the class for Master in Business Administration, second semester students. The subject is Human Resource Management. Today, we will be starting with the topic of compensation, which is in Unit 3rd of your Human Resource Management syllabus. All right. So, let's get started. Now, if we talk about compensation, compensation is the responsibility of the employer, right? And it is the responsibility of compensation is altogether a responsibility of human resource management, and compensation is paid to the employer in lieu of his services to the organization. All organizations should offer good wage and salary packages along with the fringe benefits to its employees so that it may be able to retain good people in the organization, right? If the wages offered by a firm uh, are not as good as compared to the competitor firms who are there in the market in the same industry, and you are not paying your employees accordingly, then the efficient workers will be leaving the organization as and when they will be getting a better opportunity as compared to your organization. So you need to pay the same compensation at the same level what these people are paying, right? What these people are paying means you have to pay compensation to your employees in the same pattern as it is being paid by your competitors. All right, now moving further. Right. If it happens that wages are lesser as compared to the competitors, or you're not paying at par to the competitors, this will adversely impact the efficiency and productivity of the workers, and as and when your workers and employees will be getting some other opportunity, they will definitely be leaving your organization. So in that case, you will not be able to retain the talented people in your organization. Thus it is necessary that you should be paying at par with the competitors to your workforce so that you may be able to maintain them properly. Now, compensation to the workers depends upon the nature of jobs, skills involved, risk involved, nature of working conditions, paying capacity of the organization, bargaining power, trade union, wages and benefits offered by the other units in the regions or industries, etc. These are some of the factors on which the compensation to the workers depends to a great extent. Right. Now, moving further, meaning and purpose of compensation. Right. Let us understand the meaning of compensation and what are the purposes of compensation. Right. Compensation, as we have seen, it refers to various financial and non-financial rewards for employees in return of their services that they are rendering to the organization. Compensation is usually paid in the form of wages, salaries, and in the form of employees' benefit like paid vacations, insurance, maternity leave, free travel facilities, retirement benefits, right, etc. So compensation is paid in both financial and non-financial terms, right? Monetary payments are direct compensation to the employees and have great impact on maintaining the motivation level of the employee. The compensation which is in the form of money is having a very deep rooted impact on maintaining, on motivating the employees and maintaining the motivation level of the employees, right? There should be a sound system of compensation because of certain reasons that we are going to study one by one, right? It is very necessary that we should be having a sound system for compensating our employees because of these reasons. What are those reasons? Why should we be having a sound system of compensation payment? We will find it out. The first point, capable employees are attracted towards the organization. When you are having a sound compensation system, your compensation system is transparent and it is based on certain predetermined rules, and you are paying in accordance to the norms of the payment norms of the industries, you will be able to attract good employees to your organization, right? And when you will be able to attract good employees to your organization, then what will be happening? You will be able to achieve your organizational objective, because you can attain your organizational objective only when you are having good people in your organization. The second point, the employees are motivated for better performance. If the employees in the organization are getting the compensation at par with the competitors, then they will definitely feel motivated. They will not feel frustrated, because whenever they will compare themselves with people who are working with other organization, they will not be feeling frustrated, because they are getting at par compensation as people are getting in other organizations. Third point, the employees do not leave the employer frequently. When they will be getting proper amount of compensation at par with the industry, they will not be leaving the organization like that, unless and until there is some major or some big reason for them to leave the organization. So you will be able to procure and maintain competent workforce in your organization. Moving further, factors affecting wages or compensations. There are certain factors that directly affect wages and compensation. What are those factors? We will find it out, right? Wages and salaries that is paid to different categories of employees or workers depends upon certain factors which are enlisted below, right? The first factor, if we talk about demand for and supply of labor, right? Wages, the firm require the services of the workers, and it should be paying the proper price to the workers, right? And this should and if necessary, negotiations with the union, workers union or the trade union, may take place in connection to the wages and salaries, because many of the time it happens that trade unions bargain for wages and salaries. So healthy negotiations should be there, right? The main result of the law of demand and supply is the creation of going wage rate, right? Now law of demand says when the demand of labor is more than the supply, when the demand of labor is more than the supply, you need to pay higher amount of wages. But when the demand of labor is less than the supply, you can pay lesser amount of wages to the workers, because supply of worker or supply of labor is more than what you demand. So you can negotiate, you will be in a better position to negotiate with the workers in terms of salary, and you can pay them slightly lesser amount of salary too, right? So this is the law of demand. Now it is not practical to draw demand and supply curve for different jobs in the organization, but theoretically, but actually a separate curve exists for each job. But it is not desired to draw a demand and supply curve for each job, because it will be making the things more complex and exhaustive. But if there is anything that decrease the supply of labor, like restriction by a particular labor union, there will be a tendency on the part of employer to increase the wage, because the supply is getting hampered and the demand is greater than supply, right? If there is something which is increasing the demand of worker on part of the employer, then the employer have to increase the wage. But vice versa, right? in certain in exactly opposite situation, in opposite situation vice versa will be happening, right? Now second point, capacity to pay, right? Employer's capacity to pay the worker is an important factor for the individual firm, but and also for the entire industry, right? Because employer will be able to pay only up to his paying capacity to the only up to his paying capacity. He cannot go beyond his paying capacity, right? It depends upon the financial position and profitability of the organization, that what capacity it is having to pay its people. But the main determinants of the wage rate for an individual firm depends upon the supply and demand of labor. Okay, supply and demand of labor is the main determinant of payment that will be there for the workers, right? If the firm is marginal and cannot pay at the competitive rates, its employee will leave the organization for better pay and join different organization. If the firm is working on a minimal profit, then it will not be able to pay as compared to different companies who are paying in the same industry, right? In such a case, the firm will be paying to its employee lesser amount of salaries and wages, and thus with the passage of time, as and when the employees or the workers will be getting a better opportunity, they will be leaving the organization and will be joining some other organization where they will be getting better amount of pay, right? Further, this is nor immediate and nor perfect, because there is the problem of labor mobility, and they do have the lack of proper knowledge about the alternatives that they have on the part of the workers I'm talking about, right? If the firm is a successful firm, right? So there is no need, if the firm is a successful firm, right, is a highly successful firm, right? So you need not to pay more than the competitors. You may pay at par with the competitor, or slightly at par to the competitor. Then you, if your firm is more, if your firm is very successful, right, you need not to pay extra, something extra to your workers. Like if we talk about IT industry, there are lot many IT companies at Bangalore, right, which are very big IT companies, and there are certain companies which are very small. But what is the difference between the two? The difference between the two is that those companies which are small, they pay a higher amount of salary to the person who is working on a particular position with some established company. Why? Because they want to retain that person. Because comparatively, if we talk about Bangalore, small companies are paying better than the big companies, simply because they want to retain the talent, they want to retain good employees with them, because employees are always attracted towards successful, very successful firms. So if your firm is very successful, then there is no need of paying higher than the higher than your competitors. But in case if the situation is such that your firm is small and there are big companies which are available for your employees, ultimately you need to pay extra amount of salary to your workers, so that you may be able to keep themselves motivated and you may be able to retain talent in your organization, right? Ability to pay is an important factor affecting the wages, not only for the individual firms but also for the entire industry as a whole, right? Because ability to pay is the main thing on which the entire compensation, the entire payment of compensation to the employee depends. Now the third point, cost of living. It is another important factor which affects the wages, that is the cost of living. Cost of living is the another most important factor that affects the wages to a great extent, right? It depends upon the cost of living index and the rise and fall of the general price level of the consumer, right? On the basis of this rise and fall in the general price driver of the consumer, ultimately you have to think and rethink. Ultimately, you have to fix and refix the wages again and again from time to time, at least twice a year or at least once in a year, right? Now, it is an important ingredient of labor contract, because you have to match your salaries and wages as compared to the price index, as compared to the rise in the price index. You have to match your salaries and wages with it. Now, fourth, productivity of workers, right? In order to get best productivity for the workers, you have to increase the, you have to link, in order to get better productivity from the workers, you need to link the wage with the productivity of the worker, so that they may become productive, right? Here, productivity is the key factor in order to develop the company, because the more productive your workers are, the more profitable your companies will be, right? High wages and low cost is possible only when productivity of the workers is high. Then only you will be able to attain high output at low input, right? Now, coming down to the fifth point, trade unions, right? Laborers are organized into trade union, and they can bargain for their salaries and wages on with the help of their trade unions, right? As they are organized into trade union, that they can bargain on their salaries and wages with the management through their trade unions, right? Higher wages, they may be able to achieve higher wages from the management by exerting pressure through their trade unions, right? When trade union fails in order to attain higher wage through by creating pressure, then they go for certain other mediums of exerting pressure on the management, like strikes, ghiraos, etc., or be restricting the supply of labor to the organization, so that the management may come under pressure and increase their wages as per their demand, right? It exerts a great influence on the management to consider the demands of the labor unions, right? Further, sixth, wage laws, right? There are certain wage laws that protect the work class from certain kind of malpractices that employers or management is practicing. In order to protect the labor from these kind of malpractices by the management, there are certain wage laws in our country which plays an important role in determining the wages of the workers. These include laws of minimum wages, hours of work, laws of minimum wages, hours of work, equal pay for equal work, payment of dearness and other allowances, payment of bonus act, etc. They are enacted and they are enforced by the government to bring about fairness in compensating the working class, right? Therefore, these laws plays an important role in labor policy, and government thus is having an important influence on the payment of wages and salaries by the employers, right? Wages and salaries cannot be fixed beyond below the minimum level as prescribed by these laws. So the wages and salaries need to abide with these laws as prescribed by the government of India, right? So these laws are ultimately meant for protection of economic interests of the workers, right? Now, coming down to the next point, prevailing wage rates. Wages of a company should be in accordance with the general wage rate which is prevalent in the similar occupation in the industry in the same region, right? Wages that you are paying to your workers should be in accordance with the prevailing wage rate in the industry, that like it should be in accordance to the wages which are paid in the same region for the same occupation, right? Now there are, it is necessary because wages paid by a firm, if they are lower than those which are paid by competitors, in that case the firm will not be able to attract competent and retain efficient employees in the organization. So that is the reason you need to pay wages in accordance with the prevailing wage rate of the industry. For example, there is a big difference between the pay packages offered by multinational and Indian companies, right? Multinational companies are paying comparatively a larger amount of pay package than the Indian companies. The reason behind this is that multinational corporations are able to attract more talented employee and workforce, and Indian companies are not able to attract such kind of talented workmen, right? Because multinational companies are paying a larger amount of salaries, and thus they are able to attract talented workmen for their organization, but same is not the case with the Indian companies. All right. Now these factors explains a general influence on wage rate, right? These are the certain factors which exerts which plays an important role in determining the wage rate for an industry, right? There are several other factors also which affects the wage rates, right? The most important factors that affects the individual differences and wage rates may be summarized as under. The first factor, if we talk about, is workers capacity. Okay, what is the capacity of the worker? The second is your educational qualification of the workers, right? Highly educated people demand more amount of salaries, higher amount of salaries, right? Work experience, good experience people demand good amount of salaries and compensation packages. Hazards involved in works, the larger is the hazards which are involved in work, the larger has to be the compensation, right? Fifth is your promotion possibilities, the larger is the promotion and growth prospects, the larger amount of compensation you need to pay to the promoted employees, right? Sixth is your stability of employment. Everybody is looking after stability of the employment, nobody want to search job again and again, so every person is looking after stability of the tenure in his employment, right? Next, demand for special skills. People who are having certain special skills are always looking for certain organizations which are demanding their special skills and need to hire them at higher compensation packages, right? Next is your profits or surplus earned by the organization. Those organizations which are earning higher amount of profits and surplus are able to attract better and talented employees because they are having a lot of money to compensate their people, right? Now, supplementary compensation or fringe benefits. Supplementary compensation is also known as fringe benefit. The popular name of supplementary compensation is fringe benefits. Now let us understand what is fringe benefit. You people might have heard about fringe benefit n number of times from some or the other person in your family. Now we will be understanding the fringe benefits now one by one, that what is fringe benefit firstly, and what are the different kind of fringe benefits, or what are the different options which are available as fringe benefits, right? Today's organization is using supplementary compensation or fringe benefits over and above basic compensation in order to retain their employees in the organization for a longer period of time. Fringe benefits uh, involve different kind of benefits like housing, subsidized food, medical benefits, creche, etc. These are certain forms of fringe benefits or supplementary benefits to the employees, right? Fringe benefits or fringe compensation is given different titles in different industry, like service programs, employees benefits, non-wage payment. These are some of the other names which are being assigned to fringe benefits or supplementary benefits, right? Fringe benefits are getting increased again. Fringe benefits are becoming popular in the organization, and that that is the reason fringe benefits are now being referred to as hidden payroll also, because organization, in order to avoid certain kind of taxations, offer fringe benefits to their employees, right? Now, basic purpose or the main purpose of fringe benefits or supplementary compensation are summarized under the following points. The first is your to attract talented human resources with the organization. Okay, if you are paying better fringe benefits, then definitely yes, you will be able to attract better and talented people to your organization, right? Further, to motivate the human resources, when you will be giving such good fringe benefits to your employees, you will be able to keep your workforce motivated to a higher level, right? To improve the quality of work life of the employees, when you will be giving such kind of good fringe benefits to the employees, then definitely yes, you will be able to improve the work life of your employees. There is no doubt about it. To retain the employees with the organization and check higher rates of turnover, right? Fringe benefits is also referred to as golden handcuffs, right? If you are if you are providing good fringe benefits to the employees, then you will be able to retain them for a longer period of time, because no employee wants to leave an organization which is providing such a lot of benefit to the employees. Like if you talk about a person who is working with Tata, nobody feels like leaving Tata, because the kind of fringe benefits that Tata is providing to its employee, no other organization is doing the same, right? There are only a few organizations which are work which are providing same kind of fringe benefits as like Tata. So people are having, you know, people are dead honest towards Tata, because the kind of fringe benefits that Tata is providing to the employee are very good, right? Are excellent, I should be saying, right? Next, to provide security to the employees against social risk like old age. Okay. So these are some of the important points. Coming down to the next point. Next point, to protect the health of the employees and to provide safety to the employees against accidents. Okay, lot much discussion have been happened in point like these, right? Next is your to promote employees welfare by providing welfare measures like transport and housing, right? Like one employee has got transferred from one location to another location, you have provided him proper transport, so that there's an organization called Agarwal Movers and Packers. They come to your place, they pack your entire stuff all by their own with proper packages and transport them to the place where you have got transferred, right? So these kind of transportation facilities, they are totally being sponsored by your organization. Moreover, housing facilities, wherever you are going, the company is providing you a leased house, or they are having their own colonies, and they will be providing you residence in that colony, right? Next is your to improve the morale of the employees. When you provide good fringe benefits to the employees, definitely yes, you will be able to raise the morale of your employees, right? Ninth point, to enhance the public image of the company. When you provide such kind of good fringe benefit, then employees will be, will be doing a lot and lot of word of mouth uh, marketing for you as an organization, and thus you will be able to build a good image of your organization in the public, and you will be able to build a good public image of your organization, right? Now, moving further, types of fringe benefits or supplementary compensation. What are the different types of fringe benefits which are available? Let us see them so that you may be able to better understand them. What are the different types of fringe benefits or supplementary compensations which are available? Am I audible to all of you? Hello?
Yes, sir.
All right. I believe you all are following whatever I have taught till yet.
Yes, yes, sir.
Right. So coming down to the different types of fringe benefits. Fringe benefits or supplementary compensation involves all expenditures that an employer design to benefit the employees on a regular basis. Right. Now, compensation is always related to output. Right. Fringe benefits include all of these that you are able to see on the slides, right? The first, payment for time not work. You will be paid even for that time you are not working, like you are on leave, you are on casual leave, you are on sick leave, you are on earned leave. You will be paid for that period of time, although you are not working. You are on leave that time, right? But then too you are paid. Or let's say the project on which you are working is completed, and for 2 months you are sitting all ideal, there is no work, you are coming to the office, having tea and chatting with your friends and going back home, then too you will be paid your salary. It is the payment for time you are not working. It's a fringe benefit, right? The organization is not supposed to pay you for the time you are not working, but as a fringe benefit, organization pays even for the time you are not working, right? It is a fringe benefit. Second form of fringe benefit examples here: paid rest, paid lunch, wash up times, clothes change time, get ready time, vacations, holidays, sick leave, right? These are certain examples for payment of the time not working. Next is personal leave, like voting time, etc. Personal leave, you are on leave for some personal reason, right? Then too you are being paid for that, right? Second, protection against hazards, right? There are number of hazards which are involved in the job. Okay. So if you got illness because of these hazard, or if unfortunately somebody becomes uh, permanent disabled because of these hazards, the company will be compensating. The company will be compensating for that permanent disability. You may be posted on any certain job which you can do along with your disability, or the company, moreover, the company will also be paying you financial compensation as a fringe benefit because you got accident, and because of that accident somebody becomes disabled, right? It includes it includes compensation for the old age also, and for death also. For old age you might be doing gratuity, provident fund, pension, and if somebody dies, he will be on job, he will be paid compensation by the organization, along with the fact that in certain organization now this practice is no longer exists in many of the government organization, but some government organization and some private companies are also following these practices of giving job to the dependents of the deceased person. Third, employee services, right? Big organization offers certain services to the employees on a continuous basis, such as housing, food, medical, recreation, and so on, right? This is the another form of fringe benefits, right? They have cafeteria, career counseling, education, aid in housing, medical services, low cost loans, use of organization, vehicles for personal use, daycare centers for children, and paid memberships at certain professional organizations. Right? These are certain forms of fringe benefits that they are the organization is providing in the form of employee services. Right? Now, what are these services? Let's see them once again. right? Like housing, food, medical, recreation. Okay, housing, certain organizations are there which are providing you housing loans at low cost housing loans. Okay, or they are providing you leased houses. Okay, they are providing you low cost home loans, right? There are certain organizations which are providing you medical benefits. Okay, either they are having a joint life insurance policy or a joint health policy, or they are having their own hospitals and dispensary for you, for their employees. Moreover, they have certain benefits program which includes like cafeterias, right, where food and other stuff is offered to the employee at subsidized rates. Career counseling options, there are counselors which are there in the organization, whom you can go and consult in terms of your career, right? They might have they might have tie up with certain colleges, right, which may be conducting some online classes or some evening classes for their employees who want to pursue some course, like somebody who is an engineer want to pursue an MBA, right? They might have tie up with some of the universities which is running an executive MBA program, and the employee of that organization can pursue their MBA from that organization, right? And medical services we have this, right? Low cost loans. If you need certain kind of personal loans, then too there are provisions in the organization that you may take a low cost personal loan, low cost housing loan from the organization, right? And certain organizations, not certain, most of the multinational companies are giving pick and drop facility to their employee at minimum cost. Okay, they are also having daycare center for the children's of the employees.